Thank you, Owsley, and thank you to Christy and the Brown family and all those who make this happen here, this wonderful happening happen. When you came in, and now too, we're listening to Hildegard of Bingen. And this song of hers, I think, is very appropriate for a gathering of scientists and other spiritual seekers. The title of the song is Caritas Abundat, Love Abounds. And these are the words in English. She's singing in Latin, or the group is singing in Latin. Love abounds in all things, from the deepest and most excellent depths to the furthest stars. And most beloved among all things, love extends a kiss of peace, a regal kiss of peace to all, to all. So let's turn up the music. This is also her painting of the man in sapphire blue, which we'll speak to shortly. So let's just meditate with this song, knowing that it's all about love, the love of the stars, the love from the stars, the love of the universe, 2 trillion galaxies in this universe we now know, each with hundreds of billions of stars, and the love of the depths and the height, and all come together in our hearts. Thank you, Hildegard, for speaking to us 800 years after you walked this earth, speaking to our hearts still. Hildegard, by the way, is the composer of the first opera in the West, just 300 years older than any other opera. And she was just recently declared a saint and doctor of the church. She had to wait a long time. 800 years, I think, a long time to wait. But I think one reason might be that she took on the powers of the day, such as the emperor and abbots and bishops and the Pope. And when she was 81, she was excommunicated by her archbishop, she and her community of nuns. So they were interdicted, which is a group excommunication. And that went on for a year. They were forbidden to sing her music or anything else. So she wrote a letter to the archbishop and said, well, we're obeying you, but of course, she said, all prophets make music. Prophets need music. And she went on about the need for music to become a prophetic human being. And she ends it this way. She said that those who choose to silence music in this lifetime will go to a place in the next where there is no music. Now, that is the most creative way of telling an archbishop to go to hell that I've ever heard of. And that is why I think it took them 800 years to come around. It's absolutely true. That's how she signed her letter. And in her opera, which is about the virtues, they're all walking around singing, the devil is walking around talking. He can't sing, you see. Because for her, heaven is all music, the heavens are music, and the evil is unable to sing and join the celebration, join the festivity, as in festivity of faith. So I think Hildegard is our sister today, and she may be a Trojan horse in the very Vatican that made her a doctor of the church, she, being the feminist that she is. But the present Pope would get it. Okay, then this is one of her paintings. This is the man in sapphire blue. Now notice what he's doing. I'm going to invite you to do it. I'll do it first. Go like that, okay? Now you do it too. And do it one more time. Notice what's going on in your body. You're lifting your chest, aren't you? So that is the archetype of compassion. It's putting your heart into your hands. Compassion is not just feeling, it's acting from the feeling, from the heart. And that is what she painted here. This she calls the man in sapphire blue, the healing Christ who is in all of us. In all of us. We are all other Christs. We're all healers. We're all capable of compassion. So this is a marvelous archetype of the sacred masculine. And we talked yesterday about several sacred masculine archetypes, but I left this one for today. Now notice, if you can see, notice carefully his left knee. This man in sapphire blue, the Christ in us who wants to heal, is not just standing there like this. He's this. That's your way of saying that compassion is work. It's energy. We run to compassion, she says. We don't walk to compassion. So there's a lot to take in from this wonderful painting of Hildegard. Now, I would like, this is a festival of faiths, plural, so I'd like to begin our prayer with the sound ah, as in aum. But what I'm struck by is that so many divine names around the world, from all the world traditions, have a prominent place for that sound ah in them. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to begin with the ah sound, and then we'll get that energy going, and then I will speak out a divine name, and you will echo that for a few times until I move on to another one, and you echo back, okay? So do sit with your feet on the floor and a straight, not a rigid back, so the air can flow. Air, after all, is spirit, and it's in all of us. Buddha, 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 Brahmin, 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 Tara, 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 Krishna, 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 Yahweh, 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 Adonai, 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 Hakma, 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 Sophia, 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 Allah, 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 Gaia, 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 Tagashala, 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 Wankantanka, 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 Abba, 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 Aum. Amen. Ashe. Aho. Good prayer raises silence. If you feel yourself now in the presence of silence, let us take a few minutes to enter into it, to sink. As Meister Eckhart says, we sink eternally from letting go to letting go into the one. Let us sink together into the one, hugged by this silence that we have raised. Years ago, I had a dream. It's a very powerful dream and a very clear dream with one sentence in it that I have not forgotten. It went like this. There's nothing wrong with the human species today except one thing. Then there's a colon, so I'm going to interrupt the sentence. One thing wrong with us? Come on, you're kidding me. We could take out tablets, and I bet in 10 minutes we'd have 99 things that are wrong with the human species today. What is this dream telling us? There's nothing wrong with human species except one thing. You have forgotten the sense of the sacred. That was a dream. We have forgotten the sense of the sacred. How do human beings recover a sense of the sacred when it's been lost? Thomas Berry has a very specific answer to that. He says, for example, an absence of a sense of the sacred is a basic flaw in many of our efforts at ecologically or environmentally adjusting our human presence to the natural world. It has been said, we will not save what we do not love. But it is also true that we will neither love nor save what we do not experience as sacred. Eventually, only our sense of the sacred will save us. So he's agreeing with the first part of the dream, well, with the dream itself, but he's offering a solution as well. He writes, we will recover our sense of wonder and our sense of the sacred. Now notice how they're together. Wonder and awe, what the mystics call the via positiva, beauty and joy, are all part of the sense of the sacred. We will recover our sense of the wonder, our sense of wonder and our sense of the sacred only if we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves. One of the scientists last night spoke about self-transcendence. That's what he's talking about. If we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves as a revelatory experience of that numinous presence whence all things come into being. Indeed, the universe is the primary sacred reality. In other words, the universe is the first sacrament. We become sacred ourselves, says Berry, by our participation in this more sublime dimension of the world about us. Now, there are many ways to participate in the sacredness, recovering the sacredness of the universe, which is us in the midst, us having been birthed after 13.8 billion years. And by us, I mean the earth and all the elements. Now, there is a rumor backstage, just before we began, that some angels have visited us. And, you know, part of prayer is calling in the angels, the spirits. But Gosars, my Lakota friend and teacher, used to say, what you Christians call angels, we call spirits. Okay, fine. Angels, spirits, whatever. But they're part of the festival of faith, folk. All faiths believe in angels and spirits, and that they accompany us when we worship or when we pray, like we're doing here with this ritual this morning. So let's see if there's some angels back there. I hear one of them is called Earth. Oh, look who visited us last night. Mother Earth. These angels were actually created by a human being. Her name is Mary Plaster. She lives in Duluth, Minnesota. And they've been living in a garage in Louisville for 9 years, hibernating for occasions like this. Thank you, Mother Earth, for being with us. Are you glad Mother Earth is with us? Give her a welcome. Ooh, there's another angel visiting us. It's Brother Air. It's the air we breathe. Therefore, it's the breath we meditate with. Hello, Brother Air. And I was quoting yesterday from a recent scientific study that says the air is so thin, that is to say, the air that surrounds our world is so thin, that which we breathe and depend on for every minute of our lives, it says it's thinner proportionately than the skin of an apple is to an apple. That's how precious air is. That's how sacred air is. So let us thank air for being in our presence. And another angel visited us last night. Come on out, Brother Fire. Earth, air, fire. Brother Fire. Where would we be without fire? We get all messed up when it comes to fire. This is what the energy crisis and climate change is all about. We're getting our fire from fossil fuel, which is pretty darn stupid because it's destroying our air, among other things. So we got to wise up about that. And of course, getting air from the sun, and that also means from the wind, would be a real good alternative. So, Brother Fire, thank you for being with us. And I think we have one more visitor from another world. Yes, we do. This is Sister Water. Sister Water. How we love Sister Water. And how precious Sister Water is. At least for me, I'm living in Northern California. We've had a drought for years. And where climate change is happening, we have one of two things happening. We have drier places getting drier, yearning for water, and wet places getting wetter and flooding. We call that hurricanes and so forth. So water is a real issue, and water is with us here today. And notice, yes, water, thank you for being with us. And notice that water is yin, water is feminine energy, the fire is masculine energy, yang, and here we have Mother Earth and Father Sky. So something else is being said by these angelic visitors today, that in fact, we've got to find this balance again between yin and yang, between the healthy masculine, like the blue man, and the green man, and so forth, and the healthy feminine and lively feminine. So let's sing a song to these guests, to these angels, earth, air, fire, water, because this is how we remind ourselves. And this is where we need the artists, the puppet makers, the ritual makers, and so many others, the filmmakers, and the dramatists, and so forth. This is how we recover our relationship to the universe, because nothing is here by itself. All of us need earth, air, fire, water. Da. So let's sing a song. Some of us learned this song yesterday. Here it goes. I'll sing it once and come on back. Earth I am, fire I am, water, air, and spirit I am. Earth I am, fire I am, water, air, and spirit I am. Earth I am, fire I am, water, air, and spirit I am. And notice that word I am, that is the divine name in Exodus. Moses asked God, who shall I tell the people you are? I am who I am, or I am who I will be. And so when we can say I am, we have found our true self. We have linked to the source without a source, which is one of Thomas Aquinas' names for God, a source without a source. So I want to invite these visitors to create this holding circle. Thank you. I have to kind of make my way around my notes. That's kind of fun. And I hope you all feel as held as I do by these marvelous beings in our midst. But a festival would not be a festival without the angels and the artists who help us to put them into imagination, and such as these puppets. And when it comes to fire, remember this old prayer. I used to say it when I was in novitiate as Dominican. Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of your faithful and enkindle in them the fire of your love. The fire of your love. And we shall renew the face of the earth. So these archetypes of earth, air, fire, water, they cover a lot of ground. And of course, fire is part of the experience of prayer and spirituality. Thomas Aquinas said, compassion is the fire that Jesus came to set on the earth. Compassion is the fire that Jesus came to set on the earth. And the Dalai Lama says, we can do away with all religion, but we can't do away with compassion. Compassion is my religion. So at the level of these archetypes and fire and the healthy masculine and the healthy feminine, we are already together, as Thomas Merton liked to say. We are already one. But it's finding the oneness, sinking deeper to find the common ground, what I call the underground river. And I got that from Meister Eckhart. He says, God is a great underground river that no one can dam up and no one can stop. So I talk about how we all come from different wells. There's a Jewish well and a Buddhist well and a Muslim well and a Christian well and an indigenous well and a goddess well and a Celtic well, lots of wells. But they all, if we go down and not stay at the surface and fight with each other, if we go down where the festival is, where the joy is and where the truth is and the silence is, and the taming of the reptilian brain is, we come to a common underground river. And that river's name is wisdom. And I want to say a few more words about the divine feminine, especially the feminine as wisdom. Because this is so obvious that our culture has slipped into a state, and by our culture I mean a lot of academia, a lot of education. We've slipped into a state of utter pursuit of knowledge, leaving wisdom behind. And one reason we've left wisdom behind, the main reason we've left wisdom behind, is that she's feminine. And patriarchy has been dictating what all our institutions are about for centuries. It took over. And now we're paying the bill on it all. Matricide, I call it. Matricide, the killing of the mother, the killing of Mother Earth. We are sorry. We're going to change our ways. Matricide. But wisdom is something else. Now, what is wisdom? The Book of Wisdom says this, and it's really quite shocking at first. This is wisdom to love life. This is wisdom to love life. That means wisdom is eros. Eros is about a passion for living. Now notice what patriarchy has done with the word eros, done with the word erotic. We've turned it into something dark and hidden and dangerous and even brutal. Because patriarchy and the reptilian brain, who like to hang out together, are all into control. Control. And another word for control is fascism. And sadly, religious fascism, which we generally call extreme fundamentalism, is of the same ilk. Now, how do we know that eros is such a positive thing? Because we're not getting it from our culture itself. We're getting it from the scriptures. This is wisdom to love life. And John's gospel says, I have come, that Christ has come, that you may live life in abundance, for abundant life. Well, Audre Lorde wrote a brilliant essay on eros several years ago. In it she says, and I quote, well, more or less quote, she says, "I am erotic when I bake bread, when I make a table, when I write a poem, or when I make love." Now, patriarchy latches onto the last thing and wants to keep eros in a closet and keep wisdom in a closet. We banished wisdom from the university. When the university was invented in the 12th century, the same century that Hildegard lived through, the great Renaissance of the 12th century that was grassroots, not top-down like the 16th century, when the university happened, it meant a place to find your place in the universe. That's what we're doing here. These people, these angels, are helping us find a place in the universe again, to admit that we are utterly interdependent. Wisdom, eros, the love of life. Biophilia over necrophilia. A friend of mine, a street priest in Harlem, was with Erich Fromm when Erich Fromm was dying. Erich Fromm's last words to Bob Fox were this. "Bob," he said, "why do so many humans prefer necrophilia over biophilia?" That's the question for our time. We're here to fall in love. We're here to fall in love. We're here to fall in love with the earth, air, fire, and water, with all of it. Derek Walcott, a Caribbean poet, won the Nobel Peace Prize or Poetry Prize in 1972. And in his acceptance speech, he said this: "The fate of poetry is to fall in love with the world in spite of history." The fate of poetry is to fall in love with the world in spite of history. That's what we're invited to do today. History is not pretty today. We're living through what I call the age of reckoning, where we're learning some truths about what the Native Americans went through, and some truths about what the slavery system was really about, and some truths about the origins of privilege and so forth. And of course, the truths about war, again, going on in Europe, and all, of course, the truths about the demise of Mother Earth as we know her, matricide. So more than ever, we have to fall in love with life, which is so much bigger than history. History of what humans have been making. Life is what God has been making for 13.8 billion years. And the angels celebrate it, and we can all celebrate it. And this is where we get a new vision, a new vision. So I'd like to invite you to share with me one more song. The first is about the welcoming in of the divine feminine, and it goes like this. Gaia I am, wisdom I am, mother, love, and compassion I am. Gaia I am, wisdom I am, mother, love, and compassion I am. Gaia I am, wisdom I am, mother, love, and compassion I am. And now the sacred masculine that we need so desperately. Father sky I am, green man I am, blue man, hunter-gatherer, spiritual warrior I am. Remember, the sacred masculine belongs to women too, and the divine feminine, the goddess, belongs to men too. So we're crossing over here. Ready? Father sky I am, green man I am, Blue man, hunter-gatherer, spiritual warrior, I am. Father sky, I am. Green man, I am. Blue man, hunter-gatherer, spiritual warrior, I am.